Creating species maps and exploring regions in eBird is really simple and a very effective way to help your birding. So let's go to the New Zealand eBird homepage, log in, and on your dashboard click on the Explore button. Alrighty, so if you just go beneath Explore Species, you'll see Species Maps. Click on that bad boy. Sweet, and it'll open up this map page. Now you have three options here. You can type in a species, a date range, and a location. So to start with, we're just going to type in TUI into the species. And I'm going to full screen this because it looks just so much better. I'm going to zoom right in onto New Zealand, and you'll see all of those purple pixels, that's condensed data. And as you zoom right in, so we're going on the Nelson area, and boom, those pop into those blue and red balloons that we've seen when we've been submitting checklists online. Coupled with the satellite imagery, this is a beautiful and very visual database, and all of these contain data specifically on TUI. There's so many checklists, and if you open them up, bada bing, like this, there's just so much information. And if you click on this one, which is actually one that I submitted a while back, it brings you up with a checklist summary which you will have seen when you've submitted yours. Now the great thing is you can click onto TUI here, and it'll take you through to the species page. And it's just this wonderful roundabout way of continually creating species maps and learning more. Now say you had a specific area that you had in mind, say Wellington. Let's type in Wellington, and then eBird loads up the Wellington area with all of the checklists that have information on TUI observations. Now let's say you wanted to change the time range, just click on the drop down menu and let's click on June, July time, and let's put it as the current year. And click on the green set data range button, eBird will do its thing and load up all of the observations within that criteria. So you can quickly see how this is a very effective way at exploring certain areas, certain species, and certain time ranges. So say you have a species that is restricted to a certain area and you're keen to have a look. Well, this is a great way to visually see it. So I've typed in whitehead here for the Wellington area again, but this time I'm going to zoom out to the whole of New Zealand, year round, and you can see straight away the distribution of whitehead across the North Island. Now if we type in their South Island cousin, the yellowhead, again, a great visual of their more restricted range on the South Island. So this is just showing you how you can quickly create visuals of species distributions. And you can go on all of these checklists and find out more information of where, when, and how many. Now you will have noticed on some of the checklists there is a camera symbol. If you click on that, it just means that a photo has been submitted with that checklist. Just click on this one up in the Arthur's Pass range. There's actually two with the camera symbol. So let's just click on this one. This one's got some great photos in it and a perfect example of how piling your checklist with data, with photos, with great information can be a huge benefit not just to yourself but to others as well. Along that vein, putting in really precise location data is a massive benefit. So like the yellowhead, Feor or blue duck, they have a very restricted range. So I've created this species map in and around Nelson area for Feor, which is under blue duck in eBird's database. And straight away you can see there aren't a great deal of sightings in this area. So let's click on this checklist and zoom right in. And if I go all the way in, I can see the exact river bend where these ducks were seen, which is incredible and helps me if I'm going to tailor my personal birding to go and try and see these guys, but also helps with research. So any ornithologists or researchers or conservation managers who have a particular focus on Feor in that area are going to be able to use that data. So it's just a great reminder of the importance of precise data in your checklists. Now the last example I'm going to go through is the shining bronze cuckoo, a migratory species to New Zealand in the summer, and I'm going to show you a different way of creating a species map. So I've gone to the shining bronze cuckoo species page, and if I scroll down you can see the map on the right, and you could click in there, but I'm going to create a weekly bar chart for the Wellington area. So I'll just type in that area there and bing, eBird generates a weekly bar chart with the frequencies, and you can see here January, February, March there's sightings, and then through the winter months there's not. Back to September, October, November, December there's an increase in sightings. And if you then wanted to explore certain regions where observations have been and go into a species map, just like the ones that we've created, you just need to click on that map on the right hand side. Now I hope you can see just how easy that is and how effective that is with creating species maps. There's so many different ways in and out of creating a certain species map for a particular species, a time range, and a region. So moving on, let's go back to the explore page and let's just explore a region. We're not going to pick a specific species, we're just going to pick a region. Again, let's go to Wellington. Awesome. So eBird creates this summary page, and there's a ton of data in here, a bounty of information. I'm going to try and go through it bit by bit, but I will probably fly through a few bits. By all means, make yourself a cup of tea and sit down and really get stuck in with this, because it changes on a daily basis. There's so much information in here and it can really benefit you. So first things first is the overview, saying how many species, so 192. There's over 21,000 checklists been submitted in the Wellington area, and this table is showing when species were last seen. So that first item, New Zealand pigeon, was last seen on 24th of November 2018 by Nikki MacArthur. The next one is first seen. So again, very similar information for that year when a species was seen. If it has a green bubble by it, it means that there are comments by it. A camera symbol shows that a picture's been attached. Alright, back up to the top. High counts is the next one. Pretty self-explanatory. This just gives a species name, the high count, when that was submitted, and by who. Now the final one in this overview tab is bar charts. Very similar to the shiny cuckoo bar graph that we created. This just goes through all of the species and creates a frequency bar graph through the year over time, showing how frequently people are observing the species. So if you stop here at New Zealand pigeon, you can see throughout the year people are seeing it, and if you click on this map button, boom, you've created a species map. Alrighty, let's go back to the summary page, and the next tab is counties. This just splits up your region into the counties by species number and checklists. This is sorted in descending order. Alrighty, on to the next tab, hotspots. So we talked briefly in the submission video about hotspots. These are basically where a huge number of species are regularly seen, or a lot of birders go to, because they are so rich and dense in species. So this is a great way to find hotspots in your region by how many species are regularly reported there, or have been reported there. And there are so many for Wellington, and probably so many in your area. And by all means, if you're in your area, you're looking, and you can't see a hotspot that you regularly go to and see a lot of species at, then suggest it as a hotspot. Sweet. On to the next tab, which is recent visits. Very self-explanatory. This is the most recent observation that's been submitted to eBird in that region. On to the final tab for this one, which is illustrated checklists. These are kind of in a similar vein to the species maps that we've created and the bar charts. In a nutshell, these illustrated checklists show the frequency of sightings with photos and audio for that species. So these are illustrated checklists for the Wellington area. So there's 192 of these to scroll through. There's a lot of photos, there's a lot of audio, and you can scroll through this to your heart's content and just play around. Or you could type in a specific species like kaka that you are focused on, and it'll take you straight down to kaka and give you that great visual bar chart of sighting frequency through the year. It'll also give you photos. And if you see on the right hand side here, it says actually audio needed. So if you have some audio here, you can submit it and help increase the understanding and the data on this species. So let's just scroll all the way back up to the top. Now, on top of being a citizen scientist through eBird and contributing your observations and that being used by scientists, researchers, conservation managers, you're doing an awesome service. If you want to take that a step further, you can see up in the top right hand side, it gives you how many species are without photos and how many species are without audio recordings. So if you wanted to take it a step further and target these species, upload your photos for those, go and find them in the bush, snap a photo, upload it, or indeed take an audio recording and then upload that. That's making a huge contribution to species understanding, data on the species, and generally increasing our knowledge. So if that's something you're into, go for it. It would be awesome. As I say, there's a lot of information there. Take your time, sit down, I've flown through it. Hopefully this video has shown you how you can effectively use eBird to create species maps. You can explore regions, you can explore hotspots, and you can create very strong visuals to help you increase your understanding, tailor your birding, tailor your research, or indeed if you're a conservation manager and you're watching this, it can really help with the management of species and management of habitat.